question, if China-Japan went to war, would you betray your country, has sparked intense debate across Chinese-speaking communities worldwide.
我非常确信
I am absolutely certain that if China and Japan went to war again, there would be many traitors in Japan. In fact, there may be more traitors than the number of Japanese soldiers fighting. Some users on Chinese social media have expressed worry that posting such polls could lead to serious repercussions, including possible summons or questioning by the authorities. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi saw a sharp rise in popularity after firmly confronting the CCP despite its explicit threats of war. At the recent G20 summit, Takaichi was notably active on the diplomatic front, greeting or engaging with around 25 world leaders and representatives, while deliberately avoiding any contact with Chinese Premier Li Qiang. One Japanese diplomat privately described her as a greeting enthusiast, noting that she arrived with a prepared list of leaders to meet. Sources close to Japan's China policy confirmed that Tokyo had no intention of holding talks with Chinese officials and even chose not to bring a Chinese language interpreter. Once again, Takaichi publicly snubbed the CCP, dealing a clear blow to its prestige. In response, Beijing stepped up anti-Japanese propaganda inside China, fueling fears of renewed anti-Japanese protests, or even a repeat of the violent 2012 U-lock attacks in Xi'an, when protesters used heavy padlocks to smash cars and injure people. Yet the public reaction has been unexpectedly muted. If the Japanese invade China again and you want to be a traitor, us common people, there's no way for us. To become a traitor, you'd have to go through the back door and nepotism. What is a modern-day traitor? Someone who deceives the people, distorts their worldview, and feeds them anti-intellectual education, treating the people like crops to be harvested over and over again. This kind of person is a modern-day traitor. Do you agree? Comment sections overflowed with praise as users showered the post with likes and strong support. It became evident that most people clearly recognized who the true traitors were. Yet some users voiced concerns about the fervent little pinks, those ultra-nationalists who automatically hate whoever the party targets. The 2012 U-lock attacks still linger in the memories of many Japanese car owners in China, prompting some to rebrand their Honda vehicles as China Honda for safety. Others openly criticize the CCP's anti-Japanese propaganda, with many mocking it online. Takaichi, please apologize quickly, or we'll have to keep enduring this mindless brainwashing. We've seen these same outrage articles hundreds, even thousands of times since childhood. Every year, there are dozens more, and now they no longer move anyone. Some users posted sarcastic comments. So, where's the war now? From Weibo to Douyin? The fighting is still fierce. You're all just shouting. I stayed up all night waiting for the plane landing, only went to bed after it safely touched down. The plane landing refers to Nancy Pelosi's 2022 visit to Taiwan, when she was U.S. House Speaker. Beijing had threatened to shoot down her plane and declared that the day it landed would be the day China's military reunited Taiwan by force. In the end, Pelosi completed her visit without incident, leaving Chinese users on Douyin with a wide range of reactions. I'm done watching. Turn off the phone. Going to sleep. In addition to a few self-deprecating responses, one user furiously smashed the tables and chairs in their store, shouting, "She's landed! She's landed!" before collapsing on the floor. A widely shared video mocked the authorities by showing the Chinese men's football team losing badly to South Korea's second-string side. Furious fans rose to their feet, chanting, "Shameful, shameful," at the national team. One visibly enraged spectator stood out. A commenter noted that the man dared to shout only because security prevented the crowd from reaching the players, adding that such humiliating defeats had become routine. Doesn't this feel exactly like the CCP? The comment asked. On the CCP's tough talk towards Japan, Taiwanese commentator and retired Major General Yu Bei-chen said Beijing is far too afraid to actually fight. The aggressive posture is pure theater, meant to satisfy the little pinks at home. Clips of Yu's program sped rapidly on Douyin and drew enthusiastic praise from mainland users. If you provoke Japan, you're declaring war on the US. Japan and the US have a security treaty. Don't forget that. What kind of person barks but doesn't bite, you know? Look at the dog tied next to a doghouse. It's tied up tight, and it barks at you angrily, but it can't break free. You untie the leash, and it stops barking because it knows that if it keeps barking, it'll get beaten. I'm telling you, it's like this. A dog tied with a chain is super fierce, but once you untie the chain, the dog stops barking. Sorry I'm explaining it like this. If you're really brave, then bite. If you're brave, come at me. One Chinese commenter wrote, Yu Bei Chen knows our secret. No, wait, he knows their secret. Everything he said is absolutely right. We have to give him a like. Many believe large numbers of people in China are fully aware of the reality but stay silent out of fear. They simply ignore the authorities' inflammatory rhetoric and empty war threats.
这两天啊，我在网上看到了很多退伍军人。
In the past few days, I've seen a few retired soldiers getting all fired up again, posting videos saying stuff like, if there's war, I'll answer the call. Well, let me tell you, live well, work well, take care of your family. The new year's coming. Make some more money. War, it's impossible. No one could bear the consequences. That's what I'm saying. If war does break out, I'll do a live stream where I eat excrement while doing a handstand. Other users posted images and messages saying that as long as ordinary people can live happy, stable lives, it doesn't matter who is in power. Even if the ruler were Japanese, they wrote, what counts is being treated as human beings rather than disposable resources.
我跟你们说，假如日本
I'll tell you, if Japan invades China again, I think there will be so many traitors. It's possible that there will be more traitors than the Japanese population that invades us. Comment sections on the video turned revealing, with users openly guessing how many Chinese would side against their country if war broke out with Japan. Replies flew in. 800 million, 1 billion, 1.3 billion. We're all thinking the same. One estimate put the figure at least 50%, while the top like comment predicted 500 million would choose to betray China. Another user wrote, if Japan promised no social security payments, abolished the urban enforcement officers, and set a minimum wage of at least 30 RMB per hour, at least half the population would surrender immediately. Many felt that even that was too conservative. Comments quickly filled in with, I'm in, add me, and count me too. Some confused users asked, what's happening? Has traitor stopped being an insult in today's China? Analyst Mr. Z observed that the current discussion reveals a profound shift in what traitor means inside China. The word is no longer a simple slur. For the hated privileged class, new-style traitor has become their badge. For ordinary working people, calling someone a traitor now signals resistance and awakening. Mr. Z recounted a conversation with a Japanese friend about Chinese films. When he asked which ones the friend liked best, the surprising answer was tunnel warfare and landmine warfare. Why those? Mr. Z asked. They're just so entertaining, the friend replied, baffled that any Chinese audience would take such low-quality propaganda seriously. Mr. Z explained that generations of Chinese have been shaped by this messaging from childhood, making full escape nearly impossible. Japan did commit grave harm during the war, he acknowledged, but the suffering inflicted by the CCP far exceeds it. Beijing has long used Japan's historical crimes as a convenient tool to stoke hatred, distract from its own failures, and control the public. In this way, Japan has served primarily as the CCP's political prop. However, that dynamic is shifting. Under a resolute Japanese leader who directly confronts the CCP, many Chinese citizens are now showing fresh interest in uncovering the true history between the two nations. In recent years, the real events behind tunnel warfare and landmine warfare have started to surface, and this is precisely what the CCP fears most. Over the past few years, Chinese scholars have worked to expose the facts, publishing accounts that sharply contradict the official film narratives. In the actual tunnel warfare, when Japanese troops advanced, the CCP's 8th Route Army withdrew, abandoning villagers who had been ordered into the tunnels. Those civilians effectively became human shields and decoys. Many were killed or maimed, while the main communist forces never returned to help. In the real landmine warfare in the Taihang Mountains, local residents who knew the danger of landmines strongly opposed their use, insisting no one wanted those devices. In truth, Japanese soldiers rarely triggered the mines. The overwhelming majority of victims were Chinese civilians. Villagers resisted burying them, but the CCP forced the practice. The mines were not laid to protect the people. They were positioned to cover the 8th Route Army's retreat, with each explosion serving as an early warning signal. If a Japanese soldier triggered a mine, retaliation came too late. The 8th Route Army had already withdrawn. Far from the triumphant victory shown in the films, Communist forces actually suffered repeated defeats in both the tunnel campaigns and the landmine operations. More and more mainland Chinese are now discovering that the real traitor during the War of Resistance against Japan was Mao Zedong himself, the founding leader of the CCP. Historical records confirm that between 1956 and 1964, Japanese officials personally apologized to Mao 7 times during visits to China. Each time, Mao brushed aside the apologies and thanked Japan for its invasion, saying it had allowed the CCP to expand and ultimately seize power. In September 1972, Japanese Prime Minister Kakue Tanaka visited Beijing and met Mao privately at Zhongnanhai. When Tanaka expressed regret for the war, describing it as having caused great trouble to China, Mao interrupted, saying the phrase was far too weak for the suffering inflicted on millions. Yet moments later, Mao declared, "We have to thank Japan. Without your invasion, the CCP and Kuomintang could never have cooperated. We could not have grown stronger and taken power. Without Japan's invasion, we would not have won, and we would not be sitting here today." Mao continued, "Many Japanese come to apologize, but I tell you there is no need, because we are in Beijing today only because of your help. What began as a bad thing has become a very good thing." This 1972 exchange stands as Mao's last recorded public expression of gratitude to Japan for its military invasion, one of the most shocking revelations, clearly showing that the suffering of millions of Chinese mattered to him only as a stepping stone to power. In recent years, these revelations have gradually filtered from overseas sources into mainland China, awakening countless individuals long misled by the CCP's propaganda. Many online users now say the CCP dreads the people's awakening far more than sanctions, economic collapse, or even war, threats that still feel remote. A major report recently highlighted the rise of a grassroots counter-CCP movement sweeping across the country. On November 18th, Tang Baichao, chairman of the China Peace and Democracy Alliance and a Tiananmen Square survivor, posted on X about an in-depth undercover probe spanning months in multiple provinces. His findings offer real hope, and he outlined these key insights publicly. 1. Widespread frustration with the regime has gone mainstream, particularly in major first- and second-tier cities. 2. Dissatisfaction runs deepest among those under 30, where nearly 80% of the recent graduates align with the lying flat mindset or see themselves as the last generation. 3. Since the pandemic, property values in most first- and second-tier cities have plunged, with some markets down over 70%. Mortgage defaults are surging as a result. 4. Wealth is fleeing the country at an even faster pace, while real economy investments remain frozen with no quick rebound on the horizon. 5. Small business owners have drained their reserves, paving the way for a broad social crisis that now seems unavoidable. 6. University graduates today confront chronic joblessness. The true unemployment rate for new grads far exceeds official stats, driving many to explore alternative futures and positioning them as potential leaders in anti-CCP efforts. 7. Cynicism cuts deeper inside the system than out, especially in the military and cultural sectors. These insiders grasp the CCP's flaws most sharply and harbor the fiercest resentment towards the leadership. 8. Internal power clashes within the CCP have hit a crisis stage, with historic risks among the elite families and growing chances of outright splits. 9. The CCP's deep involvement in organ trafficking is now being fully exposed. Evidence shows that the vast Southeast Asian telecom fraud networks are backed by the party itself and serve as a cover for far darker operations. When the complete truth emerges, this scandal could deliver the decisive blow to the regime's remaining legitimacy. These findings point to a growing awareness of the CCP's corruption and failures, signaling a profound shift in public sentiment across China. Many users say this undercover investigation accurately captures the true mood inside the country today. Private conversations reveal that large numbers of ordinary Chinese people openly criticize Xi Jinping and ridicule the party, a stark contrast to the paid 50-cent army posts that dominate public platforms. It is clear the CCP no longer speaks for the Chinese people. One commenter shared a quiet slogan circulating among the lying flat generation: "Don't show up to work in March to drag the CCP down. Skip work in June to welcome a new China." A well-known anti-CCP vlogger wrote, "This detailed breakdown of the regime's weakness is devastating, and tellingly, not a single 50 cent is here to disrupt it. The propaganda department must be blocking access. Turn this into a video and the effect will be explosive. The CCP's lies can no longer contain the people's anger." In recent years, millions of Chinese have moved abroad and gained access to information heavily censored at home. To counter this, The CCP has flooded overseas platforms with fake accounts run by internet police and even prisoners. Yet a new feature on X has begun exposing these coordinated disinformation campaigns. On November 22nd, X introduced a new feature called About This Account, letting users quickly check an account's creation date and history right from the profile. X's new real name verification tool has laid bare the CCP's overseas propaganda machine. The Truth Media account highlighted how many supposed expat little pinks are actually inmates serving in time in Chinese prisons. In a video with screenshots, including one of diplomat Mao Ning, the account explained, an exclamation point next to an IP address means X has flagged it for VPN or proxy use, making the location unreliable and likely fake. Instead, look at the app download method. Some accounts, for instance, show software obtained in China. Truth Media flagged another red flag, accounts listing China as a direct location. These operate on CCP-monitored networks without needing VPNs and often belong to official teams, internet police, and coerced prison labor. Users say the feature sharply improves detection of little pinks, bots, and troll armies. X has turned into a powerful unmasker of Beijing's global disinformation. These exposures strikes a real blow against the regime. In the end, the real traitors stand exposed. In any war against the CCP, those aiding the outside force to topple it aren't betrayers, they are genuine heroes.